Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. Before we get started with this video, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, be a part of the Sooner Surge as we continually provide great content for you guys. It's a growing channel, and it's because of you guys, the viewers, so we really appreciate that. Also, you see the logo, the Fan Stop. Check them out, www.thefanstop.com. Jackson, a little basketball recap for the weekend as Oklahoma men and women win games that everybody expected them to win. But let's talk about it first. Let's talk about the game that just happened, the women's game, Jackson.
Yeah, Oklahoma, they won by a score of 110-46. Skylar Vann, she led the way with 20 points, with many other contributors. And Jason, we talk about this all season. The way this team, they share the ball.
Yep.
They finished the game with 30 assists on 42 made shots.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy. They took care of the ball a lot better too. Not as many turnovers as what they have had. In the first quarter, something we've seen a lot from Oklahoma, especially in the first half. These slow defensive starts from them. In the first quarter, they did not play good defensively. After that, they figured it out, and they just took control of the game from there on out. But Oklahoma, they continue, I think, to just – once they get a feel for the game is when you see them start to play better. Like versus Louisville, they did not play good in the first half, but they figured out the game in the second half. And I think that's something that once they start getting into conference plays, they're going to have to start figuring out who they are, what the game's going to be like earlier in the game, because if you play teams like South Carolina, like Kentucky, who's pretty good, like LSU, these girls teams, right? It's going to be tough, especially if you get down by 10 to 15, especially if you're on the road. With those environments you're going to go into. So Oklahoma, they've got to get off to faster starts, but overall, I think they played extremely well.
Yeah, and you had what was it, first half of 11 threes or some crazy number for Oklahoma. Man, when they're hitting, it's fun to watch. You also had again, you had Jones that had double digits. You had I'm trying to remember how many total in double digits, but I know Peyton Verhulst was also double digits. Lexi Keys, I believe, had 11.
Yeah, you finished the game with 5 in double digits.
Yeah, so and it's the game and they dominate. I mean, they doubled them up. You don't see that a whole lot in basketball, and they did it. So just a great performance overall. And so I look at it. I'm ready for the schedule to get tougher. You had the Louisville matchup earlier this week. It was a good test for them. And on the road and everything. So now getting closer and closer to conference play, see how really good this team really is. But I think they got a great core. I think that it's a team that can definitely make a long run this year, Jackson. They have all the pieces. I mean, we haven't even talked about in the last few videos Reagan Beers because, I mean, she's still playing good. It's just like she hasn't had the dominance that she had earlier on.
Yeah, and upcoming they have Oral Roberts, I believe, in their next home game. And then after that, they face, I believe it's Michigan they have Omaha, then Michigan in the Jumpman Invitational. I believe that's how it goes. I could have flipped those, but you talk about it. Oral Roberts, they're not a bad team. They beat Arkansas, who's an SEC team, by close to 20. I don't think Arkansas is very good, but that still is an impressive Power 5 win for them. So I think they'll be one of the better teams that play non-conference. And you get Michigan, who's ranked in the top 25 right now. So Oklahoma, they've definitely tested themselves early in non-con play.
Yeah.
And they look to continue to build off what they've done.
Yeah, and switching gears to the men in the student game at the McClassen Fieldhouse, which I love it when they do this game, Jackson. I just think the atmosphere is cool. But they did not start off very good, and mainly it was because it was like it didn't matter where they shot it from, they were hitting it. And so it really, I mean, I think OU shot pretty well in the first half. But Alcorn State, I want to say, shot like 62% or something in the first half. They hit everything they threw up. OU's defense wasn't great in the first half, and Porter Moser, right off the bat, that was 4 or 5 minutes in the game, pulled every starter. And when you had Northweather in there, you had Dayton Forsyth, you had Wagyu in there. They made a little run, and then everything kind of settled down from there. And OU tore it on in the second half. Jalen Moore in the second half had a span where he was absolutely dominating. And it was fun to watch. I remember it was 11 points in a couple minutes or something. But Dayton Forsyth had a really good game. That was good to see. Goodine hit some threes. I think overall, it's a win. And yeah, a lot of people, I saw a lot of people that night at Twitter and different things after the first half says, what's going on with OU men's basketball? Yeah, it was just halftime. OU dominated second half.
Yeah, I think you talk about the ability for Jalen Moore to take over the game, and I think that's something I know I've said a couple times. Jay, you've said it as well. This is a different Jalen Moore this year too, and I think you've seen the improvement he's made, and I think that's something we've talked about. But his ability to take over the games in certain spans, when Oklahoma has nothing going offensively, when they're in a dry spell, it's like you can give it to Jalen Moore, let him use his athletic ability to get downhill, attack to the basket, draw a foul, finish a highlight dunk around the rim, which him being able to do a stand up windmill dunk, just straight up windmill. That
crazy.
Not very many players that naturally get when it comes to that. But Jeremiah Fears, he played solid. But Dayton Forsyth, man, this was finally the Dayton Forsyth game where he got a couple threes to fall. He played extremely good. I know it's Alcorn State. They're not very good, but it's good because it can build confidence for a guy like Dayton Forsyth. Him not being afraid to pull the open shot. Kobe Elvis, he played solid. Jeremiah Fears does Jeremiah Fears things, his ability to run the court with the ball in his hands and transition, finish around the basket. This is a team that I think has shown that even when their defense isn't up to par, they've been able to score. And I think that's something that we haven't seen the last few years. Was yes, they're really good defensively, but offensively, you maybe have seen some big lapses, guys not being able to get their own bucket. But now you have Jeremiah Fears and Jalen Moore both can score their own bucket, and I think that's going to help them. And they just have more depth and more weapons offensively.
Well, and Kobe Elvis and Duke Miles can also get their own bucket. That's the thing. Yeah. And Dayton, what it brings you, man, is another guy off the bench that can shoot. And you got Goodine coming off the bench. You would have Dayton. Those guys can shoot. Northweather can shoot the three. Gives you a lot of option. Jalen Moore, though, to me, the way he is playing this year, as far as if you watch the games, he'll catch the ball at the three-point line. Last year, he would have just shot the three. He's taking it to the rim. I love it. I love how he's putting the ball on the floor. And because you have to be able to do that in the NBA. You can't just be a guy that can be down low and dunk. You can't just be the guy that can just stand out there and shoot threes. You got to do both. And you can tell the improvement in his game where he can shoot the three, yes, but he's not going to just rely on it. He can, if the guy's running at him, he's going to go right by him and go in for a layup or a dunk. So I love to see that. Got to get more from Godwin, I still think. But yeah, another great performance from Oklahoma men as they now continue their undefeated streak. One of, I don't know how many, there might be like 6 or 7 left in the NCAA, not a whole lot left. So good to see, but a good weekend for Oklahoma men's and women's basketball. Hey, remember, we'll have you covered every time after games. We'll have the recap for you here on the Sooner Surge. Make sure you like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching as always and for being supportive of our channel. We'll talk to you next time.